making my dragon egg cake for Siobhan's contest, so I got another craving for baking. So I decided to make another Game of Thrones themed cake. What we're going to do today is a Stark cake. We're going to do the Stark sigil on top of a cake. What we're going to be doing is actually making a fondant plaque and then painting with royal icing on top of that plaque and then placing that on our cake. I like this method because if I screw up, I'm not screwing up a whole cake, I'm just screwing up the fondant plaque. And also you could make this ahead of time, like way ahead of time if you wanted to, and then make the cake the day of, stick the plaque on top of it, and you'd be good to go. You're going to want to find a picture of the Stark sigil online, preferably one that's just the outline. It'll make it easier for you, but any Stark sigil or any picture at all really that you want that has clear outlines and is something you want to put on the cake. So find this out, print it out the size that you want the actual drawing to be on the cake, and then that's it.
Now what you're going to want to do is roll out the fondant that you're going to draw your image on. Roll it out about 1/4 of an inch thick. That's not too thin that it'll fall apart, but it's not too thick that your image is going to stick out really far from the cake. You don't need to worry about the shape of the fondant, just make sure that it's big enough that your image will fit inside of it. You're going to be cutting out the edge of your image later anyway, so the overall shape of the fondant really doesn't matter. What I would recommend though is color your fondant. Color it the same color as the outline of your image. So if I was thinking ahead, I would have colored my fondant black to match the outline of the Stark sigil. You want to do this because after you cut out your image later, the edge color of your fondant is going to show. You'll see what I mean later on in the video. Trust me, you want to pre-color your fondant to match the outline of your image or the background color of your cake if you already know what that's going to be.
After you have your fondant rolled out to a big enough size, you want to remove it from whatever you rolled it out from. If you use a silicone mat, you could leave it on there, but I prefer to transfer it anyway. You want to get some parchment paper, tape it down to your surface, nice and flat, and then put the fondant on top of that. That way, if the fondant sticks at all, you can just peel the parchment paper off at the end, because it would be a real shame if you did all the work and then you couldn't get the stupid plaque off of whatever surface you rolled the fondant out on. So make sure to put it on something easy to peel away the fondant later. Once you have that done, you want to get your image, place it on top of your fondant, and then you can either use a toothpick if you don't have something like this, or you can use a tool like this, which is basically just a blunt, I don't know, it's just a blunt plastic thing. And you want to trace around the image, and it's going to make an indent on the fondant. This will let you know where you're going to draw later. So just go ahead and do that.
As you can see, the outline is pretty clear after you do this. You don't have to be as detailed and draw all the inside lines if you don't want to. I did this because I was going to be using 2 shades of gray and it was going to help me decide where I was going to put the icing. After you put on your background color, you're not even going to see these indents. So don't worry if you screw up or anything like that. Just make sure that the outside lines are very visible for you. Once your outlines are how you want them, you want to start coloring in the picture. We're going to be doing a background color right now, so don't worry about black icing. All you want right now is some gray frosting if you're doing the Stark sigil. You want to use royal icing. It's very simple. You just mix icing sugar, a little bit of water, and some food coloring. That's it. All you're going to do is color in within the lines. If you want to get a little detailed with it and put multiple shades of gray, you can do that. I use 2 shades of gray, but it's really up to you what you do. Just color the picture in, and then when you're all done coloring in, you want to go through with a fine paintbrush and just sort of refine the edges a little bit, you know, mix the colors if you want to. Just make it so that the background of it looks how you want it to look, because once it's dry, it's dry. Here's some photos of it after I did the background colors. Honestly, looking back, I kind of wish I left it at this. You'll see why later. Okay, so after the frosting is dry to the touch, it doesn't have to be bone dry yet, but so that it's dry to the touch, you could run your finger over it and not smudge it. You want to add on the outline color. Like I said before, I kind of wish I left it at just the background color. I thought it looked kind of cool, but I was going for details, so I got my black royal icing and I did just that. I went around and I did all the outlines. So basically everything that's on that sheet of paper, I drew in. Here's a photo of the finished sigil with the outline. I thought it came out pretty cool. The ear was a little screwy, but other than that, I was pretty happy with how it came out. I still prefer the unoutlined version, the more abstract version though. This is when it started to go downhill. I'm an impatient person, I know I am, and I should have known better than to do this, but I did it anyway. I did not let the sigil dry enough before picking it up and trying to put it on the cake. I let it dry maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. That is not long enough for that amount of royal icing to dry. So after I cut out the sigil, when I tried to lift it up to put it on the cake, it cracked and it bent and it was just bad. So I'm not happy with how that came out. And then also, since I didn't color the fondant ahead of time to match the outline, I had this really ugly white edge all along the perimeter of the picture. So I had to go in with royal icing and kind of draw around the edge to color it in, and that just looked messy to me. Yeah, I didn't like it. So what you should do is color the fondant, like I told you ahead of time, either to match your cake or to match the outline of whatever drawing you're going to do. And let your royal icing dry, preferably overnight, and everything should be golden. I hope you learned from my mistakes and that if you do try this project, you are happy with your outcome. In the end, it really didn't matter. It tasted good. I made red velvet cake in honor of the red wedding. So, whatever. Note to self, be more patient next time. Thanks for watching.